Miami, Florida. July 2026. The third-place playoff of the FIFA World Cup. On the pitch, a 10-goal thriller is unfolding, pushing the boundaries of what football can be. It is a chaotic war zone of desperation, tactical gambles, and young stars fighting for pride. The scoreboard reads an unbelievable England 6, France 4. Bukayo Saka is celebrating a historic hat-trick, and Kylian Mbappé looking different, despite scoring the highest number of goals and breaking some records. But as the camera pans away from the flashing lights and the roaring crowd, it stops right there at the edge of the French dugout. Sitting quietly in a training bib, eyes fixed on the grass, is N'Golo Kanté. He looks isolated, almost invisible amidst the coaching staff shouting frantic instructions. Sitting there is a man who once held the footballing universe in the palm of his hand. A World Cup winner. A Champions League immortal. A player whose name was once synonymous with absolute dominance. Yet, throughout this entire tournament, as France's midfield crumbled under pressure against Spain, and as they conceded goal after goal to England, this man did not touch the ball once. N'Golo Kanté was called up to the 2026 World Cup as the ultimate veteran savior, a calm presence for a chaotic squad. Instead, he became France's ghost. 0 minutes played. Left on the bench even when his experience would have helped. So how did one of the most loved, respected, and unstoppable players in football history end up pushed to the sidelines, facing his international retirement in total silence and agony? To understand the heartbreak of his final chapter, we have to look back at the impossible journey of a boy the world constantly tried to ignore. Long before the roaring stadiums, N'Golo Kanté's story began in the quiet shadows of poverty. Born in Paris in 1991 to immigrant parents who had journeyed from Mali in search of a better life. N'Golo was the eldest of 9 children. His childhood was not filled with expensive football boots or pristine training pitches. It was strictly defined by survival. When N'Golo was just 11 years old, tragedy struck the family. His father passed away suddenly. The young boy had to carry the weight of the world on his tiny shoulders. To help his mother put food on the table, N'Golo walked for miles across the streets of Paris, collecting trash, scrap metal, and recyclables to sell for pennies. During the 1998 World Cup, while the rest of France was celebrating Zinedine Zidane's magic on television, a 7-year-old N'Golo was on the streets, looking through the crowds for discarded cans. He saw the multi-ethnic French team lift the trophy, and a quiet fire sparked inside him. He did not want to be famous, he just wanted a way to help his family survive. He took to football simply because it required nothing but a ball and space. But the football world was completely blind to his talent. Academy after academy rejected him. The reasons were always the same: too small, too weak, or not vocal enough. While flashy teenagers were being signed to lucrative academy contracts, N'Golo was playing amateur football in the 9th division of France. He used to ride a small kick scooter to training because he couldn't afford a car or public transit. But you cannot outrun a man who never stops running. By the time he reached Boulogne and later Caen, scouts started noticing something extraordinary. N'Golo did not play like a normal midfielder. It felt like there were clones of him on the pitch. Then came 2015, and a life-changing move across the English Channel to a small, struggling club called Leicester City. What followed was the greatest footballing fairy tale ever told. Leicester City won the English Premier League against 5,000 to 1 odds. The engine of that miracle was N'Golo Kanté. The football world quickly created a legendary phrase to describe him. 71% of the earth is covered by water, and the rest is covered by N'Golo Kanté. He subsequently moved to Chelsea the very next season and won the league again, becoming the first player to win back-to-back Premier League titles with different clubs in the modern era. He went on to lift the UEFA Champions League, putting on a masterclass that left the world's best midfielders chasing his shadow. Yet, despite earning millions, he famously drove a second-hand Mini Cooper. When he accidentally crashed it on the way to a match, he didn't buy a supercar. He just fixed the mirror with tape and kept driving it to training. His character never changed, no matter how much wealth surrounded him. By 2018, N'Golo was the absolute heartbeat of the French national team. In Russia, Didier Deschamps built his entire tactical philosophy around Kanté's tireless work rate. He protected the defense, unlocked Paul Pogba, and allowed Kylian Mbappé to fly forward. France became champions of the world. Look closely at the footage of that rainy night in Moscow. While players scrambled to take photos with the golden trophy, N'Golo stood at the back, hands in his pockets, simply happy for his teammates. He was genuinely too shy to ask to hold it. It wasn't until they literally took the trophy and forced it into Kanté's hands that he finally got his moment. His teammates even made up a song for him, singing it loudly in front of millions. N'Golo Kanté, he is short, he is nice, he stopped Leo Messi. He was at the absolute peak of human achievement, loved by the entire world. Injuries eventually slowed the Iron Man down. A move to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia felt like the peaceful twilight of a legendary career. But when Didier Deschamps called him back up to the national team for the 2026 World Cup in North America, football fans rejoiced. The veteran warrior was back for one final dance. But behind the scenes, the fairy tale turned sour. Whispers from the French camp painted a distressing picture. A transition of power was happening. The younger players wanted a different style of play. Didier Deschamps, facing immense pressure to modernize his midfield, quietly pivoted toward youth, effectively freezing the legend out. Game after game went by. France struggled, showed tactical vulnerability, and yet Kanté remained glued to the bench. The ultimate disrespect came on July 18, 2026, in Miami. The third-place match against England. A ceremonial game where managers traditionally give their legends a final send-off on the pitch. As France trailed 4-0 at half-time, Deschamps made for massive substitutions, but Kanté's name was never called. Even as the match descended into a frantic 6-4 loss, the veteran remained an unused observer. At the final whistle, he walked onto the pitch to shake hands with the English players, including his old Chelsea teammate Reece James. He smiled, his trademark, gentle smile, but his eyes tell a story of profound sadness. Any other superstar would have thrown a tantrum. Any other player would have walked out on the team or spoken out to the press about the lack of respect. But not N'Golo Kanté. He did not complain. He did not make a scene. True to the boy who picked up trash on the streets of Paris to help his family, he took the disrespect with absolute dignity. He accepted the cold reality of the beautiful game's brutal business side. He bows out of the international stage not with a standing ovation, but in the quiet shadows of a chaotic stadium in Miami. Yet, his legacy doesn't belong to the tactical choices of a manager in 2026. It belongs to the millions of fans who saw that a kid from the streets could conquer the footballing world, win every trophy imaginable, and still remain the humblest soul on earth. Thank you, N'Golo. The world will never forget the engine that ran on pure humility.